Video essayists, you gotta love them. No, actually don't hate them. Hate them all. Up from the Depths, a notorious Godzilla video essayist that is known for making Godzilla video essays. Because up from the depths, like Godzilla, he rises up from the depths. Do you get it? Do you get the reference? Recently, he made a video saying Godzilla x Kong is actually a pretty decent movie. And as logic would follow, those kinds of videos piss me off. Mainly because the usual defenses I would expect are intellectual dishonesty or intellectual cowardice, with a pinch of ignorance and a side of sheer stupidity, and just a teensy weensy little bit of cocksuckery. I can think of count them, one person that is intellectually honest and noble when it comes to defending Godzilla x Kong, and I have discussed with him the movie in Zimzilla's podcast. You should check those podcast episodes out. And on that subject, me and the boys covered that video essay in length, about 6 hours. That's a lot of hours. But I really don't expect any sane person to just watch 6 hours of people yapping about how this specific video essay is just so wrong, it's painful. So I'm going to condense it in a singular short video essay. Completely unscripted too. So, to summarize. It's like the Showa era, so it's actually good. It made me feel like a kid again. It has more merit than even its most ardent defenders acknowledge. It does exactly what it sets out to do. Themes. Plot summary. If you like Kong, you will like his arc, and Kong is the heart of the story because he has a character arc. Godzilla's at his finest when he's blowing stuff up. Scar King is great because he's Kong's dark half. Theme. And he has a personality. Suko is awesome because you can feel bad for him. Theme. Unless you're an unfeeling monster, you feel sympathy for Shimo. It makes sense to bring back Mothra the way they did because meta! It does not waste your time. The human cast is efficient with how they're written and underrated because theme. The movie respects your intelligence. The movie is silly, not dumb, because invented definition of the word silly, and that's good. If you watch GXK without taking the fact that it's supposed to be silly into consideration, i.e. expecting logic and coherency, then you are watching the movie wrong. The criticisms against scale have been greatly exaggerated because you can feel the weight. The choreography is clear, concise, and confident. The movie is a kid playing with toys. If you care about Godzilla and Kong, you will care about the fights. The movie isn't exclusively made for kids, but it instills a childlike wonder because these movies might have appealed to you as a kid because of said childlike wonder. The movie is not here to ask logical sense or ask questions, but escape into a world of fantasy and fun. So is that it? Is that an accurate summation of his points? Did I get it right? Did I get all of that right? I just want to make sure that I got every single one of those points right, just correctly. Is that it? It is? Oh, okay, good. So, what the fuck? So just for the sake of my own sanity, I'm not going to cover every single little bit of information that was present in the actual video. We did that in the live stream with Zimzilla. Go check it out. But those points that I mentioned earlier, I wrote them down so we can tackle them one by one because they are just so downright incoherent. It physically hurts! So for starters, it's like the Showa era, so it's actually good. This is a common argument that I hear every single time somebody talks about the Monsterverse, specifically the Adam Wingard movies. That is the shittiest fucking excuse I have ever heard. I want you all in the audience to write down in the comments what makes the Showa era narrative so internally consistent and narratively coherent without resorting to explaining what the plot was. Go ahead, I'll give you time to do that. As a matter of fact, I challenge you. And once you give me the answer, I can determine whether copying the Showa era at all in a Monsterverse movie is a good idea. It's like people don't even know what the law of diminishing returns even means. I'm going to skip around, I'm not going chronologically. Now, Suko. I have talked extensively about Suko and why he's not a good character, but to summarize it in this video, here's why Suko is not a good character. So we know for a fact that Suko has been abused by Scar King, and then he starts warming up to Kong once he realizes that Kong will not abuse Suko. We know that already. Now, can you pinpoint at which exact moment did Suko begin to warm up to Kong? If you said the scene where Kong feeds him that giant serpent, you would be right if in the previous scene when they first met, Kong did not use Suko as a baseball bat. We laugh at this scene thinking it's goofy, and it is. I mean, it's really goofy that a giant monkey is using another monkey to hit other monkeys. It's a really funny visual, I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty funny. But it makes the character doomed to fail in the narrative sense because we are supposed to understand that Suko is starting to believe that Kong will not hurt him. But he literally did. And he didn't just hurt him. The very first interaction they had is of Suko being bludgeoned by Kong, while at the same time bludgeoning other Kongs. Now you could say, well, Kong is just defending himself because Suko was attacking him. Okay, sure. Suko doesn't know that Kong is a good guy. He doesn't know that Kong didn't actually want to hurt him, even though he literally did. And from his perspective, Kong is keeping him as a prisoner, and him feeding Suko is just him feeding a prisoner, because he needs Suko alive to lead him to the Scar King, which is what Suko perceives that Kong wants. We know Kong is not a bad guy. We know that he wants the best for his people. Suko doesn't know that, and at no point in the movie is there any indication that Suko ought to believe in it. And you might be thinking, okay, well, what about the time when Scar King killed Suko's surrogate? Well, yeah, that was a very sad moment, that Suko's surrogate was killed by Scar King. And I'm just here thinking, okay, and I didn't even know he existed up until this point, and he died the moment he was introduced. I don't see why I should feel anything at all, actually. Like, a cutesy monster is feeling sad because the person they liked off screen in a story we actually did not get to see died, and I'm supposed to feel something. It's like when you go to a funeral for your aunt Grandma Jemima, which wiped your ass when you were 2 months old, and then your mom gets upset because you don't feel bad. I'm like, woman, I don't know her. I don't know her. Who is that? Funny thing, the lava pit that the guy fell into, it disappears between shots. When they first interact, the Scar King and Suko surrogate, there's no lava pit. The moment Scar King kicks him into the lava pit, it appears, and then the next shot, it's just gone. So they created a lava pit specifically for this one character to die in. It's so fucking funny. Wow. The CGI artists are assholes. They're like, yeah, fuck this one ape in particular. Speaking of which, Scar King. Scar King's a horrible villain. I don't know where he gets any praise. Like, he sucks. He's all hype moments and aura and no actual writing involved with him at all. Like, no actual good writing whatsoever. And I love what Up From the Depths says. Like, he has personality. Oh, okay, and so does Ghidorah, and the Mutos arguably have more personality. And Mechagodzilla to an extent, kind of, sort of. And the Skullcrawlers have somewhat of a personality that's not exactly unique to Scar King. The Mutos love each other, like their personalities being affectionate and protective of each other. The Skullcrawlers, their personalities being evil and just making Kong's life impossible. Ghidorah's personalities, because there's 3 heads, there's leadership, there's aggression, and then there's curiosity. Those are the 3 personalities. And then Rodan is like a Judas type, Starscream type character over there in the background doing fuck all. Rodan is out here fixing the immigration problem by eliminating all the immigrants.
On the plus side, employment is now at 0. Wait, did someone just say unemployment rate falls to 0 when you committed genocide on a fucking planet?
Yeah.
I'm looking on the bright side, man. You can't glass a fucking planet and say I did it because it solved the unemployment problem.
I know why they did it, but it's an upside.
The rate of fucking everything turns to 0, you asshole.
You're just upset at my outside. That doesn't make him wrong.
Then you got Kevin in the body of Mechagodzilla, which is just Ghidorah in a Godzilla replica, so he's just... I don't even know what the fuck to call that thing. An abomination, an insult to God's creation. But his personality is exactly the same as Ghidorah's. It's, I want to blow up everything for no fucking reason. So yeah, that sounds like a personality to me. That's not exactly unique. But also, Scar King as a villain, conceptually, could have worked. I mean, we had a template for it. Like, literally every movie about dictators ever made, even the movie that came afterwards, kingdom of the planet of the apes. Proximus Caesar, he was charismatic. He offered the people something that they all collectively wanted. He quote-unquote abused them. Well, actually, no, he did abuse them. But he also did offer things in return as well. He was not harsh in the traditional sense. You could say that he loved his people, but not because he saw them as people, but because they made him feel powerful. Because they all acknowledged him as Proximus Caesar. Proximus literally means next to Caesar. And to the apes, Caesar is literally God. And on the subject of slaves, dictators don't have slaves because they want to purposefully dehumanize the people that are actually slaves. In some situations, it's a byproduct. In others, it's just pure malice. But there is not a single dictator on this planet that did not use slaves because they thought they weren't useful. They used slaves so that they don't have to do all the manual labor for themselves. They offloaded that kind of work to people against their will so that they can enjoy their own luxuries. They did serve a purpose. And not just that, but for agriculture and architecture as well. I mean, just look at Egypt. Guess who Egypt enslaved? And guess what they did with the slaves? And guess what kind of things they were able to build with the slaves? Now, Kong in this situation serves as a sort of Moses archetype, and he could have been that, but no, we needed giant monsters fighting. On top of that, how is Scar King able to consolidate power? He's so weak. Even with Shimo, the amount of apes that he has under his control is just absurd. They would all be able to jump him and Shimo if they needed to, then free Shimo so that Shimo could jump him. He necessarily had to have offered them something for them to all trust him enough to put him in such a position of power. But no, he just had these bunch of apes moving rocks for millennia. And then there's Shimo. I'm apparently a heartless monster. If I feel nothing with Shimo, I'm sick, twisted, crazy. I was a crazy one. Twisted. They locked me in a room. I was crazy. A room filled with rats. Rats made me crazy. I was crazy. They locked me in a room. A rubber room. A room filled with rats. Rats made me crazy. I was crazy once. They locked me in a room. A rubber room. A room filled with rats. Rats made me crazy. So Shimo, what do I say about Shimo? I think she exists. We feel bad for her because she's in pain. And a lot of the reasons why I should feel bad for her have been provided by external material, things not present in the movie. I shouldn't have to say this, but if your external material is required to understand the movie, then the movie failed. I shouldn't have to buy a comic when I already paid to watch the movie. Additional material is supposed to be supplemental, not essential. Also, did you know that Scar King placed the thing he was controlling Shimo with in his whip? He put it in his whip, the whip that could be easily grabbed by Godzilla and bitten down on and destroyed easily. And that's how he's defeated, because Scar King is a moron. Now you might be thinking, well, where do you think he could have put it? Up his ass? And I'm thinking, yeah, he's an orangutan. Why wouldn't he? You think I'm joking? I'm dead serious. He could legit just shove that up his ass. If he's supposed to be crazy and evil and malevolent, but also insane, and this movie wants to go all goofy, then go all goofy. Shove the thing up his ass. I think one of the most important things that he said is that the movie doesn't waste your time. And that's just completely false. The entire movie was a complete waste of my time. The only reason why anybody would think that the movie sets up everything in such a way that it gives you the monster fights as soon as possible for as long as possible is if that is what you are looking for, instead of an actual good story, which connects to two of his points that he makes later. The first one being the movie is not here to make logical sense or ask questions, but escape into a world of fantasy and fun. And if you are watching GXK without taking into the fact that this is supposed to be silly into consideration, i.e. expecting logic and coherency, then you are simply watching the movie wrong. And to anybody that promotes the idea that it is indeed possible to watch a movie wrong, then I have a suggestion for you. It's a very simple but effective task that I think you should be able to do. I think it's imperative and even a moral obligation that you do this. I think that you should go fuck in the off direction. People can watch movies for literally any reason. Coherency is a default of storytelling, not a feature you can just remove at a whim just to have what you know you cannot have. Our world is inherently logical and necessarily logical, so our stories are mere shadows of what we perceive. But shadows still point to a light, and therefore truth. Logic and coherence are structures, they're mechanisms, not some condiment you can add to your junk food. And that's another thing too. Why do genre movies, monster movies, superhero movies, why do they get a pass in being stupid? The only reason why I would see these kinds of movies receiving a pass when it comes to criticism of narrative quality is if the majority of the movies present are not very well written and people have been conditioned to expect the barest of minimums. Up From the Depths also says that this movie respects your intelligence. Does it really? Does it? Do you think self-awareness is a virtue? Like you are aware that you're doing something stupid. Is it really self-awareness if you just keep doing it? Really? That's just dumbest fucking excuse I've ever heard. That's not even self-awareness. That's just lampshading. Oi mate, isn't it hilarious that we're just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks? Haha. Anyways, look at this turd I'm about to throw at the wall. And honestly, purposeful incoherence and lack of structure just means that you're aware that what you're doing is wrong and you keep on doing it. That's worse than not knowing at all. You don't even get the protection ignorance grants you. You know exactly what you're doing. And again, if you're expecting a breakdown, there are hours upon hours of content breaking down Godzilla x Kong's plot throughout multiple streams, both in my channel and in Zimzilla's, as well as Sea Monsters. But this video isn't specifically about Godzilla x Kong, but rather the video Up From the Depths made in its defense. And I say in its defense because that's pretty much what it was. It doesn't completely explain why the movie is good beyond just it's fun, it's silly, and also plot summary theme. I say he doesn't explain what makes the movie good because most of the things that he says that are good of the movie are just descriptions of what is actually in the movie as opposed to making value judgments. Because what he is telling me is stuff I could have already figured out on my own, that yes, this is about this, that is about this. What makes them good though? The fact that they happened? You're telling me the fact that they happened at all is enough to warrant their own existence? That's circular. That doesn't make a lick of sense. The events played out and you can see them actually happening. You can see Scar King doing this and it helps portray the idea that he is evil. Sure. That I saw the movie. I know that. Where is the value judgment? Hello, value judgment. Where are you? You're telling me that the events as they are portrayed in such a way that you can experience them. Like I thought that was movies in general, or just storytelling as a medium for communicating ideas and concepts. Like, I saw it happen. Yeah, and what makes is it the fact that I can see them enough of a value judgment to say that they're good? What is this? My favorite argument that he makes is that the movie is silly, not dumb, and then he just invents a definition of silly just up in the air. Like, silly is what you would describe when you're just goofing around with your friends. That's a whole bunch of nothing. That's a big fat pile of nothing. Like, I think you're describing fun, which is subjective, and when making an objective value judgment, that's not really all that helpful, like at all. But back to the idea that the events, the fact that you can see them and understand what is being transmitted is enough to consider them to be good. This plays into this one point that he says, which is that the choreography is clear, concise, and confident. Like, clear, yes, I know what is happening. Concise, I don't know what you mean by concise. Do you mean that you can tell what's going on? Which, yeah, like I would expect to know what is going on in a movie, which is audio visual medium. I feel like you're scraping at the bottom of the barrel for compliments to give this movie. And confident in what exactly? That the audience can see it, which again, audio visual medium, that's all of film. The movie isn't exclusively made for kids, but it instills childlike wonder because these movies might have appealed to you as a kid because of said childlike wonder. That is bullshit. I think I would have hated this movie if I saw it as a kid, honestly. I think I would gravitate more towards 84 and GMK and Godzilla vs. Destroya, just because, I mean, it's not this visual noise. The visuals of GXK is what happens when an Oompa Loompa explodes after trying to hold in projectile vomit and explosive diarrhea at the same time. I will let my good friend Braden explain why the CGI of GXK is bad eventually, when he comes back with the milk. Any day now. I mean, be honest, like, Godzilla fans, let's just have a one-on-one conversation. How can you accept defenses like these and then complain that nobody in Hollywood takes Godzilla seriously, or just fans in general just dismiss him as just this stupid, silly monster, when you have defenses like this for movies like this? Like, honestly, you guys just dug your own grave. Like, you probably don't even know it, but you dug your own grave. This is as much your fault for accepting this piece of shit movie as it is the director for wanting to make this piece of shit movie. And just to clarify, I am only referring to that specific side of the fan base, not the entirety of it. There are smart people in there, I know it. But yeah, I don't think I have much left to say about this video. This video is just horrible. Just like one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. It regurgitates everything you've heard from other video essayists like Patrick Willems. Like, he employs the infamous Patrick Willems fallacy of watching movies wrong. He summons the Showa era comparisons, as people typically like to do. I find it hypocritical too. Like, people will shame on you for comparing GXK to -1, but they'll compare the Monsterverse to the Showa era, which I don't really blame them for doing it, because I believe the Monsterverse is just as good as the Showa era, which I guess for you probably means something completely different than it does for me. But just you can read between the lines. You're smart. You're a smart person, I assume. I'm gonna tackle this one last point, that the movie is not here to make logical sense or ask questions, but to escape into a world of fantasy and fun, as if fantasy and fun and logic are mutually exclusive. Lord of the Rings, Berserk, Harry Potter to an extent. Actually, I don't know about Harry Potter. I haven't read the books. I haven't watched the movies. I don't like magic or just fantasy in general. But I do like Lord of the Rings and Berserk. I think they're excellent works of fiction and probably some of the last myths humanity has left to cling on to for narrative structure. As I said in my previous video, Timmy had a magical fire wand. I would expect it to shoot fire, not fucking fish. Was his name Timmy? I'm pretty sure it was, right? I think it was Timmy. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not going back to check. We're just gonna assume that his name is Timmy, and if it's not, his name is Timmy now. I think I have explained ad nauseum why the idea of logic and just fantastical fun concepts are not mutually exclusive. I think I've explained those ideas pretty well in other black screen episodes as well as Zimcast episodes. Not just me, but just everyone around the board. And I'm going to end with this. You might be asking, well, what if a movie is purposefully trying to be incoherent, like, let's say, an expressionist story, an expressionist film, an expressionist book, or whatever the hell? Well, you are still operating on the dichotomy between logic and anti-logic, so there is still a structure there. Coherence and incoherence can both still be understood under the umbrella of logic. The capacity to identify things that are illogical stems from our pattern recognition abilities, aka our ability to recognize when something is logical. Whenever we notice that absence, we can measure it. And yet there is still an underlying coherence to the incoherence, regardless of what they were trying to do. It's not so much narrative randomness as it is organized chaos. And that's not a contradiction. But yeah, I think I've said everything I've wanted to say about this video in both this one and just the Up From the Depth stream in Zimzilla's channel, which I think you should still check out. My mic quality is not as good as it is now, but just bear with me for the moment. And again, you don't have to watch the entire thing in one sitting. Not even I did. And yeah, fuck this video. Fuck Up From the Depth. The video's wrong, he's wrong, and silly. Lighthearted movies can be good. I don't really feel like I need to say this, but I'm just gonna say it anyway, just in case. I don't know how else to end this video, so drink water, I guess.
あなたが何かを背負っているなら、少しは私にも分けてほしいんです。